What's up guys, Chris McKinney, RazeMotorsports.com, doing a couple videos today, and I wanted to throw this one in there. So I wanted to talk about the engineering that went into our Wingman Kit. When we went after the snow bike realm of doing some performance products, when we initially started, we picked up on a couple things right off the bat. That when we had our vector logger on and we were out trying to get our baselines, that the snow bikes were going pig rich when the motor was cold. We added a thermostat to it and the bike was still going rich, especially on deep powder days. So we knew that was a big issue. Second thing is we noticed after we had went with a better thermostat and started to deal with the cold enrichment tables and getting that figured out, when we were going up and down the mountain and air densities were changing, the bike was not compensating on the fly for the air density change. So we had to go back to the drawing board and make a proper baseline to build our performance kits off of. So when we went back to the drawing board, engineered a new ECU in MATLabs, and we added a barometric pressure sensor to the ECU. So this is reading the outside air density on the fly, so when you're going up and down the mountains, the bike can altitude compensate on the fly. Now your bike, all dirt bikes across the board, have a sensor package that includes a map sensor, intake air temperature sensor, engine coolant temperature sensor, throttle position sensor, and tach. When you initially start your bike, the map sensor is reading the air density of that time. Once the bike starts up, that map sensor is reading engine vacuum, has no idea what the outside air density is after that. So it only locks and loads that air density for that specific point in time. Once you take off, start going up the mountain, it has no way of knowing what that oxygen density change is. This barrel sensor is in free air, knows what's going on the fly. Second thing is our fuel enrichment table is way down, way below 150. So there's days, even with a thermostat on the bike, you're going to see 135, 140 ECT. Stock ECU is going to be going in the fuel enrichment table. Ours will not. We also use a pretty dynamic engine strategy. It's a version of a speed density and Raze Motorsports twist. If you notice any of the other ECUs on the market, including the stock ECU, you can even unplug the map sensor, bike still runs. This is called an alpha N strategy. It's a static map. Literally, TPS and engine RPM on a table, that's the fueling time you get. So we're using the map sensor at all times, reading engine load, looking at the barrel, compensation outside, very dynamic feed-forward controls on the fueling and the ignition timing. Nothing else in the market from any OEM or aftermarket company has anything like this in the snowbike world. The Wingman Kit is our baseline. So we fix the altitude compensation issue, we fix the fuel enrichment table issue, and we also turned up the horsepower on the stock bike as well. So you get a 10 to 12 horsepower gain depending on what the bike is. Now, this is a beautiful foundation to lay the NOS and our boost strategy on top of. So the foundation's been laid with this. That was the original idea with it. That's why we designed it, and that's our Wingman Kit.